What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I will be sharing with you guys my review for Ninjago Dragons Rising Part 1. Also, before we go ahead and get into the review, this will contain massive spoilers. So if you have not watched Ninjago Dragons Rising yet, I suggest you do that first, because spoiler-free reviews are really hard to make. So I'm only doing a spoiler review here. So yeah, if you have not watched Ninjago Dragons Rising and would not like to be spoiled, I wouldn't watch this just yet. Alrighty, so there are 5 main points that I have based my review off of, which are story, characters, suspense, small details, and ending. And so let's go ahead and start off with the story here, which I gave a 9 out of 10. I thought the story was honestly just really good. The way they explained how the merge happened in earlier episodes, getting different point of views of it, was just really cool to see. The only thing that I could have complained about is that the real threat of Imperium wasn't really like shown to its full scale until like episodes 5 through 10. Episodes 1 through 4 were just kind of Eren and Sora training, which is still good. That's why I still gave it a 9 out of 10, because that's still good. Just, I wish we could have seen more of what Imperium was doing, and we could see little tidbits of them capturing dragons and stuff, but I wish we could have gotten just a bit more here and there to see how much of a threat they really were. The next point I'm making is characters, which I had to give a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10 out of 10. The characters were just so good this season. All the characters seemed to be, just their own character. The main thing was that there was a lot more humor, just a lot more laughs to be had. I genuinely laughed quite a lot during this Dragons Rising Part 1, because the characters were just so lively. They just made their own jokes, and they all seemed so separate of each other, different personalities, which is really nice to see. The reason I gave it a 9 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 just had to be that, like, when the ninja found each other after the merge, there wasn't much of like, where have you been, what happened, all that stuff. Like, it just seemed like they found each other, especially with Kai and Nia. Kai and Nia just shared a hug and then started helping the Kraglings. Like, it just didn't seem that natural to me. Like, it didn't seem like they caught up at all. They were just like, okay, you're here now, let's work on this. That's the only thing that I could have complained about. So 9 out of 10 for characters, maybe even a 10 out of 10. The next point is suspense, and to be honest, I had to give it a 7 out of 10. Now, especially with the earlier episodes where Imperium wasn't showing too much of a threat, that maybe killed the suspense a little bit, which maybe brought it down to a 9 out of 10. The main thing for me had to be that in the earlier episodes, especially the first episode, the Merge Part 1, it felt like I'd watched the entire episode already because of how many clips that LEGO had posted beforehand. It seemed like I'd already known and watched the entire episode, in which, while it was cool at the time getting the clips, when I'm actually watching that episode, knowing what's happening for like the entire time, it is a bit annoying. Like, there wasn't any suspense because I knew what was going to happen next. Like, Eren and Sora getting chased through the junkyard, I knew that they were going to make it out. Like, the suspense was killed in some of the earlier episodes just because of that, in my opinion anyway. The next point is smaller details, mainly little details and callbacks from Ninjago, like the original Ninjago show. And there were actually quite a few, and stuff to the sets as well, which is really crazy. The first thing, which honestly was what brought this to a, an 8 out of 10. I gave it an 8 out of 10. The only reason I gave it an 8 out of 10 is because it left some questions. The only one that didn't leave some questions was Master Wu's, all of the callbacks to Master Wu's teaching, because Lloyd was trying to be just like Wu. That was really cool, seeing like all the different callbacks to how Master Wu acted and all that stuff. That was really cool. But another thing, in the first episode, we saw one of the Bone Warriors from Ninjago Corps, and then they were saying he was from the underworld. So there's Ninjago core people in the underworld now, which I guess makes sense. It's just really interesting that those core people are from the underworld, which just left me with some questions. And then the other one, the new Master of Wind. Of course, the old Master of Wind, Moro from Ninjago Season 5. The entire point just left me with questions like, who is she? Like, what correlation does she have with Moro? How did she get the powers? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me how she got the powers. And it just, like, I wish we could have figured out what correlation she had to Moro. The only really reference we got to Moro besides that was when Lloyd met her and said, so you're the new Master of Wind. I already like you better. So yeah, we could definitely see that Lloyd remembers Moro and everything, but it's just like, why does she get it? So overall, I just had to give Small Details an 8 out of a 10 for that reason. The final point I'm making is the ending, which I had to give a 9 out of a 10 for. The ending was just really good for a cliffhanger. Yeah, this just overall was really, really good of an ending. There was just a really good fight going on between the dragons. Now, I will say that the dragons against the Photax was getting just a bit, like repetitive. Just them tackling each other for like an hour, it felt like. But I mean, it was still cool. It was a really cool battle scene and everything, and all the different stuff going on. But in that last episode, it just felt like there was a lot going on. From Kai and Nia finding the temple with the Master Wu spirit or whatever, to finding Zane. The only reason that it's a 9 out of a 10 and not a 10 out of a 10 is because there just felt like there was a lot going on. From like them finding Zane to them finding the weird monastery thing with the weird Master Wu spirit in it. And then another thing that left a lot of questions at the end, the ending had to be like the whole Source Dragon scene where Lloyd was getting overwhelmed with the power, with all the like symbols and the graves of the ninja, just all that stuff. It was pretty overwhelming, to be honest. So the ending was really good, a really awesome cliffhanger where we could see like the perfect amount of contentment with the ninja, but still like that the villains, like we're not done with the villains just yet. So yeah, it's a 9 out of a 10 for me. The ending was really good cliffhanger. I felt like we could have slowed down just a little bit, but you know, it's whatever, it's still really good. Alright guys, well that is my review for Ninjago Dragons Rising. So overall, I'm going to have to give it like an 8.5 out of 10. It was just so good. Loved Ninjago Dragons Rising. It was just amazing. It was so good. But anyway guys, that is just going to be about it for this video. So I hope you all have an absolutely amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.